Hi, I'm Jen, the Holistic Health Boss, your functional diagnostic health practitioner and expert. And I want to share with you 4 simple steps to help you get your body into fasting shape and make fasting more effective. Now, if you follow me closely on maybe Instagram or Facebook, then you probably know I did my first 3-day fast for 2021 last week. Not only was this my first 3-day fast of the year, but it's the 8th one that I've done since starting them a little over a year ago. But let me tell you, I didn't just jump into fasting overnight. No pun intended here. There was a time actually when my body couldn't even handle intermittent fasting for 12 hours, let alone 3 full days. I eased into prolonged fasting over time, and I'm going to share the 4 simple steps that I took to get there. Because yes, fasting can produce some major health benefits, and it's been used for a long time as a therapeutic tool to help reverse or prevent health conditions such as cancer, diabetes, and other chronic diseases. And at the same time, without the right supervision, guidance, or preparation, fasting can actually do more damage than good for some people. The reality is that fasting isn't right for everyone, regardless of how popular it is. I've seen way too many clients walk through my virtual practice door frustrated with the lack of results that they've seen from their fasting attempts, or feeling wiped out and worse off after trying it. Now, in the midst of healing my Hashimoto's and reversing mold illness a few years ago, my body couldn't tolerate fasting at all. My body was too toxic, depleted, and dysfunctional at the time to metabolize fat for fuel effectively and feel good while fasting, even for short periods. Now, fasting has been a part of human existence probably from the beginning of time, as our ancestors roamed the earth, alternating through times of feast or famine and hibernation during the winter months. However, our modern day culture basically has killed off our fasting instincts with the introduction of fast food drive-thrus, processed foods that have exceptionally long shelf lives, and high carbohydrate and high sugar diets that leave you craving more food than ever before. And to top it all off, the majority of our modern day food leads to blood sugar issues, hormone imbalances, liver and gut dysfunction, which negatively impact your ability to utilize fasting effectively as a tool. And then there's the toxins and stressors that our bodies encounter every day, which alter hormonal balance and other metabolic processes, leaving the body less equipped for effective fasting. A body that was once born with a natural ability to tolerate fasting no longer can or has that ability due to the evolution of our food industry and our environment. However, as I said, I'm going to share with you 4 simple steps that you can take to get your body into fasting shape and to make fasting more effective overall for you as well. And as I mentioned, these are the exact 4 steps that I took to help my body prepare. Now first, let's break down what fasting is. When it comes to intermittent fasting, especially as it relates to the keto diet, there are basically 2 schools of thought on this topic. One is that fasting means not eating anything containing calories for a period of time, usually like a 16-hour window. And 2 is that fasting means not eating any sources of immediate energy, such as carbs or proteins, but fats are okay. Now, both approaches focus on training the body to primarily utilize fat stores for energy and to become fat adapted. The standard American diet, or even most other whole food or primal diets such as paleo and Whole30, constantly supply the body with readily available fuel sources in the forms of carbohydrates like veggies, fruits, nuts, and seeds, and proteins, meats, beans, etc. Training the body to be fat adapted requires cutting off sources to these readily available types of fuel and forcing the body to tap into its own fuel storage, fat. Now, then there's prolonged fasting periods, which typically exceed 24 hours and can go on for days. At this point, one's body should ideally be fat adapted in order to access its own fuel source so you can feel best during these prolonged stints. With prolonged fasting, there are also multiple schools of thought. Some might do a water-only fast, while others might include maybe a daily cup of bone broth like I do. Most approaches produce health benefits, and you should choose one that works best for you and that is in alignment, ideally, with the goals that you are trying to achieve. Now, I use prolonged fasting as a tool to restore and repair my digestive tract every few months. The cells of the intestinal lining have the ability to completely regenerate within 72 hours if you avoid consuming food, giving you a whole new, stronger, healthier digestive tract. Having a cup of bone broth at night and taking daily supplements helps to restore the gut and maximize fat metabolism for additional benefits such as toxin elimination, hormonal health, energy, and sleep. But as I've cautioned earlier, fasting isn't for everyone, at least not in the current state of health that you might be in. It's always important to consult with your health professional before trying any method of fasting overall. And certainly before you jump right into fasting, follow these 3 simple steps to get your body into fasting shape and to make fasting more effective for when you do it. Step 1 is to test, not guess. It's better to know about any underlying hormone or nutrient imbalances before you dive into fasting. At a minimum, check your thyroid, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, and melatonin levels, along with your vitamin and mineral balance before starting a fasting routine. If any imbalances exist, lay the foundation to reverse them with a therapeutic diet, adequate sleep, appropriate exercise, stress reduction, and nourishing supplements before jumping into fasting. Step 2 is to fuel up with fat. Slowly ease your body into the transition by fasting with fat as your primary fuel source. Fat is not readily available as fuel when ingested, so it still requires your body to tap into its own fat fuel sources. Allow yourself to have a fat-only meal, maybe in the morning, such as a coffee or matcha tea with ghee or a full-fat coconut milk. This will deliver some of the essential nutrients your body needs so it can still function at its potential while staying away from carbs or proteins that can hijack that fat for fuel metabolism. Training your body to use fat for a fuel is the key to having energy and sleeping well while fasting. Now, step 3 is to ease into it. Don't go for the gold right from the get-go. Start by making dinner your last meal, fasting overnight, and gradually extending out the time you eat breakfast in the morning a few days a week. This is basically what's called intermittent fasting. Now, I started by having dinner sometime before 7:30 p.m. and then my first meal in the morning around 9:30 or 10:30, resulting in 14-hour fasting periods. Over time, I was able to extend this window while I was fasting and still feel good at the same time. And a special note here for women, because women's hormones are particularly sensitive to food deprivation. So it's best to fast maybe every other day instead of every day when getting started, and to be mindful about your body's needs during certain times of your menstrual cycle, like ovulation and right before it starts. Now, tip 4 is to salt and supplement. When avoiding food, you're also avoiding access to nutrients, so it's essential to supplement what you're maybe missing out on. When fasting, supplementing with vitamins and minerals will help to maintain sleep quality, keep your hormones happy, and your energy balanced, and support the process of fat metabolism. Our ancestors salted meat to cure them for food storage and ate every part of the animal, organs, cartilage, etc., so that their nutrient values in their bodies were much higher than ours, even when they were forced to fast. So we want to mimic the same. While fasting, I continue to take my daily supplements to ensure that my body has the nutrients it needs to get the job done. Plus, while I'm fasting, I also add in an extra packet of Element electrolytes to maintain hydration, lower cortisol, and boost energy. And I also take Biocidin's DIG tox to help bind up toxins that are being released from fat as it's broken down, because that's where they're stored, to make sure that they are eliminated and not recirculated. Now you'll know that your body is ready for fasting when your energy is even all day long and your sleep is spectacular, especially when you start to lengthen the time maybe in between your meals for longer fasting windows. We like to think of the body as a well-oiled machine that is ready to adapt to anything we throw at it, but that's generally not the case, considering all the variables that impact our health in this modern day world. So, with most diet trends, people have a tendency to dive all in without considering if their body is ready for it. And when it doesn't work, they usually give up, right? Maybe you've tried this before. Often it's not the diet that didn't work, but something else was going on underneath the hood that got in the way. And this is why it's always best to test and not guess in order to figure out exactly what is right for your body, so that you don't go spinning your wheels, wasting money or time on failed attempts or health improvement strategies that aren't right for you specifically. So if you're ready to assess your readiness for fasting, or to figure out what foods are right for your body so that it can function at its potential, know that you can always reach out to me to schedule a complimentary Ideal Health and Weight Discovery session. And make sure that you are mindful before you jump into any type of fasting. All right, I hope you found that helpful. I'll see you in the next video.